baby, I want you all for myself.
You can have me all to yourself, Grandma.
To find out more about us, watch this story by Mr. Hope.
Sarah gazed at her reflection in the large mirror in her bedroom. At 50, her figure remained nearly unchanged. Only faint crow's feet at the corners of her eyes betrayed her age. A successful businesswoman, she owned a renowned real estate company and was still single. "It's not that no one ever pursued me," she often told her professional friends. "I chose my career over marriage." But every time she returned to her spacious, quiet home in a gated community in suburban Atlanta, she wondered if she'd made the right choice. Her mansion boasted 7 bedrooms, yet she lived there alone with her elderly housekeeper, Miss Ellen. "Ma'am, the new gardener's here," Miss Ellen called from downstairs. Sarah nodded, adjusting her simple blouse and slacks. She didn't need to look corporate at home, but she never wanted to seem careless about her appearance. Descending the grand staircase, Sarah couldn't help but think how challenging it was to maintain such a large house. The previous gardener had left abruptly due to family issues, and she'd needed a replacement. Miss Ellen had mentioned that her cousin's son, looking for work, was skilled in landscaping. "Is that him?" Sarah asked, spotting a man in the garden. She paused mid-step. She hadn't expected Miss Ellen's cousin's son to be a strikingly handsome man who looked like a model. Tall, broad-shouldered, with tan skin that stood out against his plain white t-shirt, he exuded strength as he stood in her garden. "His name's Andrew, Ma'am," Miss Ellen said. "He's only 27, but my cousin says he's talented at gardening. He learned a lot working as an intern at a landscaping company before he graduated." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Graduated?" "Yes, Ma'am. He studied landscape architecture, but has struggled to find a job, so he's taking on gigs like this for now." Sarah frowned. Why would a landscape architecture graduate work as a simple gardener? She didn't press further. People had their reasons, just as she sometimes questioned why she lived alone in this massive house. "Introduce me to him," she told Miss Ellen. "Oh, good morning, Ma'am," Andrew greeted, extending his hand. "Andrew Reynolds." Sarah shook his hand, feeling the calluses on his fingers, proof of his hard work. His handshake was polite, not too firm, but confident. "Sarah Valentine," she replied, hiding the sudden flutter in her chest. "Sorry if the garden's a bit messy. It's been weeks since anyone tended to it." Andrew smiled, revealing white teeth and a small dimple. "Don't worry, Ma'am, I can fix it. I actually see a lot of potential here to make it even more beautiful than before." His voice carried an undeniable excitement, and Sarah noticed his articulate speech, unlike the gardeners she'd met before. "What's your plan?" she asked, trying not to show how intrigued she was by his presence. Andrew began explaining the garden's layout, how to maximize the land's natural contours, and which plants suited Atlanta's climate. As he spoke, Sarah couldn't help but notice the movement of his lips, the sparkle in his eyes when he mentioned an idea. For the first time in years, she felt a spark of interest in something, or someone, beyond her business. After their discussion, Sarah left Andrew to start his work. As she walked back inside, she couldn't resist glancing over her shoulder, catching Andrew's eyes on her. "Girl, when was the last time you dated?" asked Diane, one of Sarah's closest friends, as they dined at an upscale restaurant in Midtown Atlanta to celebrate Trisha's birthday, another high school friend. Sarah sipped her red wine. "I can't even remember. Why do you guys always ask that? I'm happy with my life." "Happy but alone," Trisha teased, laughing. "We all have someone waiting at home. You've got Miss Ellen." "At least it's peaceful," Sarah countered. "I don't have to worry about who'll annoy me tomorrow. Just myself." "Such a waste of your beauty," Diane said. I know plenty of single executives who'd be perfect for you. No thanks, Sarah cut in. I'm not into setups. It's exhausting adjusting to someone new at my age. So you'll be alone forever? Trisha asked. Sarah shook her head. She wasn't opposed to love. She'd had relationships when she was younger, but every time she tried opening her heart, something always got in the way. We have a new gardener, she said, changing the subject. Her friend's expressions shifted instantly. Wow, a gardener! That's exciting, Diane said, clearly teasing. He's an architecture graduate. Why's he working as a gardener? Sarah mused aloud, then corrected herself. Landscape architecture, I mean. Miss Ellen says he's her cousin's nephew. Is he cute? Trisha asked, visibly intrigued. Sarah didn't answer, but her friends knew her averted gaze was a silent admission. Oh my gosh, Diane exclaimed. That's why you're so curious about his job choice. How old is he? What? He's just my gardener, Sarah protested. He's 27. Her friends exchanged glances and burst into laughter. Perfect, Trisha declared. Young, full of energy. Stop it, Sarah said, but she couldn't help laughing too. He's just my gardener. Sarah began describing Andrew's plans for her backyard. As she spoke, she noticed how excited she felt about his ideas. It wasn't just a job to him. He had a passion for landscaping and clearly wanted to showcase his talent. Girl, I don't think it's just the garden he's tending to, Trisha whispered to Diane, loud enough for Sarah to hear. Enough, you two. I'm heading home. I have a meeting tomorrow morning. Back at her house, Sarah went straight to her bedroom window and looked down at the garden. Even in the dark, she could see the changes Andrew had started. He'd cleared the weeds and arranged the plants neatly on either side. The soil was prepped for new plantings. She took a deep breath, trying to clear her mind. What was happening to her? Why was she feeling this way over a gardener? That night she dreamed of Andrew. They were in the garden together, and he was teaching her to plant flowers, their faces close, as he showed her how to shape the soil with her hands. Sarah woke early, sweating and embarrassed. What's wrong with you, Sarah? She whispered, feeling like a teenager. She showered and got ready for work. Andrew only came on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so she knew she wouldn't see him today. She wasn't sure if she was annoyed or disappointed. As she left the house and headed to her Mercedes, she noticed a significant change in her garden. New plants lined the edges, and a space was prepared for flowers. The once overgrown soil was now neat and fertile. She smiled, not expecting Andrew to work so quickly. He clearly knew how much she loved her yard and was doing everything to please her. Mom, Miss Ellen called. Andrew left last night at 10. He said he'll be back tomorrow to continue. Sarah nodded, suppressing a smile. Tell him thanks. Driving to her office, she couldn't stop thinking about Andrew. At 27, he was half her age. What was she thinking? But no matter what she told herself, she couldn't deny the thrill of seeing him again tomorrow. A storm was intensifying and expected to hit the Atlanta metro area that evening. The radio announcer warned as Sarah drove home. She knew Andrew was at her house, working in the garden. Glancing at the overcast sky, she recalled the heavy rain the past few days and the weather service's storm warning. She wasn't sure how severe the storm would be or how it might affect her garden, which Andrew was currently tending. Arriving home, she immediately looked for Andrew. She found him covering plants with plastic sheets, protecting them from the impending downpour. Andrew, she called, have you heard about the storm? He nodded. Yes, ma'am. That's why I'm hurrying to protect the plants. It'd be a shame if they got damaged. Don't worry, Sarah said, approaching him. We can always buy new ones if they get ruined. It's not that simple, ma'am, Andrew replied, a hint of pride in his voice. These plants are specially imported, and I've put a lot of time and effort into them. Sarah smiled at his dedication. Sorry, I didn't realize how invested you are in these plants. Andrew smiled back, and Sarah felt her heart race again. Landscaping's my passion. That's why I studied landscape architecture. It's just tough finding work in that field. Why's that? Sarah asked, genuinely curious why a graduate was working as a gardener. There aren't many firms hiring, Andrew explained, continuing to cover the plants. You often need connections to get in. I've been sending resumes for months, but no one's called back. You should build a portfolio, Sarah suggested. Show what you've done, like this garden you're working on. Andrew's face lit up. Really? You think I could use this in my portfolio? Absolutely, Sarah replied, pleased by his reaction. And I can recommend you to friends who might need a landscape architect for their projects. Thank you, ma'am, Andrew exclaimed, stepping forward and hugging her impulsively. Sarah froze as their bodies touched, feeling the warmth of his frame, the faint scent of his cologne mixed with sweat, and the strong beat of a heart. She wasn't sure whose. Andrew quickly pulled back, visibly embarrassed. Sorry, Mum, I got carried away. Sarah smiled, masking her surprise. It's okay, I understand. Lightning flashed, thunder rumbled, and rain poured down. Even though the house was just yards away, they knew they'd get soaked running inside. Come on, let's go, Sarah shouted over the rain's roar. They dashed for the house but were drenched by the time they reached it. Miss Ellen greeted them with towels. Oh, ma'am, you're soaked, she said, handing Sarah one. Any flooding outside, Ellen? Sarah asked, drying her hair. Not yet, ma'am, but the wind's picking up. Sarah glanced at Andrew, his wet t-shirt clinging to his athletic frame. She quickly looked away. Do we have spare clothes for Andrew? She asked Miss Ellen. I'll find something, ma'am. Give me a moment. Miss Ellen left, leaving Sarah and Andrew by the door, both shivering and dripping wet. Sorry, ma'am, Andrew said. I didn't expect the rain to hit so hard. It's fine. We can't predict the weather, Sarah replied, avoiding his gaze. Miss Ellen returned with a t-shirt and shorts. Sir, these belong to ma'am's nephew, who stayed here last summer. Andrew took the clothes. Thanks, I'll change in the bathroom, he said. I'll head upstairs to change too, Sarah added. In her room, she couldn't stop replaying the moment. Andrew's hug, their soaked clothes, his body visible through the wet shirt. She felt like a giddy teenager. Get a grip, Sarah, she told herself. You're too old for this. When she came downstairs, Andrew was in the living room, wearing the slightly tight t-shirt and shorts. They suited him well. Ma'am, I can't go home tonight, he said. The rain and wind are too strong, and the buses have stopped running. That's fine. You can stay here until the storm calms. We have plenty of rooms, Sarah replied. Thank you, ma'am. Sorry for the trouble. You're no trouble. Want some dinner? Miss Ellen's preparing something. As they waited, they talked about various topics. Sarah learned Andrew was the eldest of 3 siblings and the family's breadwinner. His father had lost his job due to illness, and his mother sold baked goods in their small town in rural Georgia. I really want a good job to help my family, Andrew said. I want my siblings to go to college like I did. Sarah's heart softened. You're a good son and brother. What about you, ma'am? Why do you live alone in this big house? Andrew asked. Sarah paused, unused to personal questions from an employee, but something about Andrew put her at ease. I've had relationships, she said, but I haven't met someone I wanted to spend my life with. Plus, I got too busy with my business. Before I knew it, I was 50. You don't look it, Andrew said. You seem like you're in your early 40s. Sarah laughed. Are you flattering me? No, really, Andrew said, serious. You're the most beautiful 50-year-old I've ever met." Just then, the power went out. "Great, a blackout," Sarah said. In the dark, they couldn't see each other, but Sarah felt Andrew's presence beside her. Their arms brushed, and she sensed the warmth of his body. "Ma'am," Andrew began, but the lights flickered back on. Their eyes met, and for a moment something passed between them. A spark, an unfamiliar feeling. Sarah noticed how close their faces were, unsure how it happened. The rain outside grew heavier, and in that room, between her and Andrew, it felt like a storm was brewing too. "Could I help with other chores around the house?" Andrew asked one day while tending the garden. A week had passed since the storm, and Sarah's yard had transformed significantly. Surprised, she asked, "Why? Isn't your pay enough?" Andrew shook his head quickly. "No, ma'am, you pay more than enough. I just want to earn extra for my siblings. My youngest is about to enroll in school." Sarah smiled. He was truly a devoted brother. "What else can you do besides gardening?" "Lots," Andrew said. "I can fix broken things, repaint walls, clean the attic or basement, organize stuff." "I do have a basement I haven't visited in ages," Sarah said. "There's old stuff down there I'd like sorted. If you're up for it, I'll pay you extra." Andrew's face brightened. "Thank you, ma'am." From then on, Andrew worked Tuesdays and Saturdays, taking on tasks beyond gardening. Sometimes he was inside, fixing basement items or kitchen appliances. This meant he and Sarah spent more time together in the house. She started cooking lunch for him on his workdays, secretly delighted when he enjoyed her home-cooked meals. "Ma'am, this is delicious," Andrew complimented, eating heartily. "Thanks," Sarah said, her cheeks flushing. Over 6 weeks they grew comfortable with each other's presence. Sarah sometimes caught herself missing Andrew on days he wasn't there. "Your house is so clean now," Diane remarked during a visit. "Who's the new housekeeper? Did you hire Miss Ellen full-time?" "No," Sarah said. "It's Andrew, my gardener. He offered to help with other chores." Diane grinned. "Oh, Andrew, the gardener you've been talking about." "I haven't been talking about him," Sarah protested. "Then why did you text me last week saying, 'Guess what? Andrew has an architecture degree'?" Diane teased. Sarah fell silent, realizing she couldn't resist sharing about Andrew with her friends. There was something about him she always wanted to discuss. "Your garden looks professional now," Diane continued, glancing out the window. "Not just a gardener's work." "I told you, he's a landscape architect," Sarah said. "I want to help him. It's a shame if he stays a gardener forever." Diane looked at her, smiling. "So concerned about his career, huh?" "Of course. It'd be embarrassing if I didn't," Sarah defended. "Sarah, I've known you for decades. I can tell. You like this guy." "What are you talking about? I'm 50, in case you forgot," Sarah said, feeling defensive. "Is there a law against falling in love at 50? Diane asked. "Besides, from your stories, Andrew seems mature for his age, kind, responsible, smart." "Enough," Sarah said. "I'm not a high school girl crushing on random guys." "No, you're a successful businesswoman, independent, wealthy. Nothing's wrong with having a boyfriend," Diane insisted. Sarah shook her head. "If I did, it wouldn't be Andrew. He's my employee, Diane, and he's 27, practically my nephew's age." "Age is just a number," Diane said. "Until you're old enough to be their mum," Sarah retorted. Diane laughed. "Fine, but there's no harm in enjoying his company, right?" "Ma'am, I'm done cleaning the basement," Andrew said from the living room doorway, startling Sarah and Diane. "Oh, Andrew," Diane said, clearly intrigued. "I'm Diane, Sarah's friend." Andrew smiled and shook her hand. "Nice to meet you, ma'am." Don't call me ma'am. It makes me feel old, Diane said, glancing at Sarah. Right, Sarah. Sarah forced a smile, annoyed at her friend's obvious meddling. Andrew, can I check the basement later? I want to see what you did with my stuff. Sure, ma'am, Andrew replied. I'll head back to the garden now. After he left, Sarah swatted Diane's arm. What was that? Too obvious. You two are adorable, Diane laughed. And he's handsome, a gentleman too. Whatever, Sarah said, but she couldn't hide her smile. Later, Sarah went to the basement to inspect Andrew's work. The once dusty space was spotless. Old books, photos, and memorabilia from her youth were neatly organized. She spotted an open photo album on a table, showing pictures from her high school days. She looked like a different person, long hair, slim, with a spark in her eyes. You were beautiful back then, Andrew said from behind her. Sarah turned, not realizing he'd entered. That's embarrassing. I look awful there, she said, trying to close the album. Not at all, Andrew insisted, gently taking it from her. You're stunning here, just a different style. Styles were different then, Sarah said, feeling a flutter at his compliment. I'm old now, you're young, you missed our fashion era. Andrew looked into her eyes. You're not old, ma'am. You're 50, so what? Sarah fell silent. There were countless issues. Her age was double his, she was his employer, and what would people say? But in that moment, staring into his eyes, those problems seemed insignificant. If I could turn back time, I'd probably be your age now, she said. Then maybe we'd have met back then, Andrew replied. His gaze held an emotion she couldn't fully read. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sarah. Happy birthday to you. Sarah was stunned as she entered a private room at a Buckhead restaurant, greeted by her friends. She'd thought it was just a simple dinner with Diane and Trisha, but they'd planned a surprise party for her 51st birthday. You guys are too much, she said, smiling. I had no idea. Of course, Trisha said. It's a special occasion. Our baby girl's 51. The room was elegantly decorated with flowers and candles. A small string quartet played her favorite songs. And for this special occasion, Diane announced, we have a special guest. The door opened and Andrew walked in, dressed in a white long-sleeve polo and black slacks. Sarah's jaw dropped. He looked mature and even more handsome in formal attire. Ma'am, happy birthday, Andrew said, holding a bouquet. Andrew? Sarah asked, incredulous. How? I'm the culprit, Diane admitted. I got his number when I visited your house. Thought, why not invite him? You talk about him all the time. Sarah blushed and turned to Andrew. Sorry, my friends are crazy. It's okay, ma'am, Andrew said. I'm happy to be invited. First time I've been to a place like this. Come, Andrew, Trisha said. Sit next to Sarah. You're her escort tonight. Trisha, Sarah protested, but she secretly enjoyed the arrangement. The table buzzed with laughter and conversation. Sarah was surprised at how easily Andrew fit in with her friends. He was articulate, if a bit shy, and engaged in their discussions. So, Andrew, said Mike, Diane's husband, why are you a gardener if you have an architecture degree? Landscape architecture, Andrew corrected. I'm still looking for a permanent job. It's tough breaking into established firms. Actually, I know someone at a big real estate developer, Mike said. An architect. Want to submit your resume? Andrew's eyes widened. Really? That'd be a huge help. Sure, I'll tell him you're a friend. Sarah smiled. This was what she wanted for Andrew, an opportunity to use his degree and talent. Dinner ended and the dancing began. The quartet played classic love songs from Sarah's youth. Ma'am, Andrew said, offering his hand, may I have this dance? Sarah's heart skipped. I'm not great at dancing. Neither am I, Andrew said, smiling. But it's your birthday, special occasion. Sarah stood and took his hand, placing hers on his shoulders as he held her waist. As they swayed to "The Way You Look Tonight," Sarah felt a familiar thrill, an emotion she thought she'd never feel again. "What are you doing, Andrew?" she whispered. "Dancing with you," he replied, grinning. "You know what I mean. Why are you like this with me?" "Like what? Kind, attentive?" Andrew paused. "Like I have feelings for you?" Sarah froze at his directness. "Aren't you afraid of what people will say? I'm twice your age." "Why should I be? I'm not doing anything wrong, and I don't see your age when we're together." "Andrew." "Ma'am, I don't fully understand my feelings either, but I know I'm happy with you. I love seeing you smile and want to keep you happy." Tears welled in Sarah's eyes. It had been years since anyone spoke to her like this. "I don't know what to do," she admitted. "No need to rush," Andrew said. "We can be friends first." Sarah smiled. "Friends? Me and my gardener." "Why not?" Andrew grinned. Sarah laughed, feeling lighter. From the dance floor's edge, she saw Diane and Tricia whispering, clearly gossiping about them. But she didn't care. She was happy, and that mattered most. After the party, Andrew offered to drive her home. "No need," Sarah said. "I have a driver." "I want to," Andrew insisted. "It's your birthday, special treatment." The drive was quiet, a subtle tension in the air, an unspoken anticipation. At her house, Andrew walked her to the door. "Thank you, Andrew," Sarah said, "for coming, dancing, everything." "Happy birthday again," Andrew replied. They stood there for seconds, as if waiting for something, but both hesitated. "Good night, ma'am," Andrew said, walking away. Sarah entered her vast house, and for the first time, she felt the loneliness of coming home to an empty space. She went to her room and stood by the window, watching Andrew walk to the gate. Before leaving, he looked up, saw her, and waved with a smile. Sarah waved back, smiling. In that moment, she knew her life had changed. She was no longer the Sarah trapped in her routine. Like a flower beginning to bloom after a long winter, her garden outside was sprouting buds Andrew had planted, proof that spring had arrived, not just in her yard, but in her heart too. "Personal assistant?" Andrew repeated, clearly confused. Sarah nodded, organizing papers in her home office. "Yes, I have a business trip to Miami next week. I need to visit our branch there and inspect properties. Usually I'd call Janet, my office secretary, but she's on maternity leave." "But I don't have experience as a secretary or assistant," Andrew said, hesitant. "It's not hard," Sarah assured him. "I just need someone to carry documents, take meeting notes, and manage my schedule. You can handle it." Andrew scratched his head. "What about the garden?" "We'll be gone a week. The plants won't die in a week," Sarah said. "Plus, I'll pay you double." "It's not about the money," Andrew said quickly. "Can I really do that job?" "Andrew, I believe in you," she said seriously. "I've seen how you work. You're smart and learn fast. I want to give you corporate experience. It might help you land a better job." "Okay, I'll try," Andrew said. Sarah smiled. "Good. Go home and prepare. You'll need formal attire, long sleeves, slacks, leather shoes. Do you have those?" "No, but I can borrow from my cousin." Sarah thought for a moment. His cousin's clothes might not fit, and she didn't want Andrew uncomfortable on the trip. "Here's what we'll do," she said, pulling her wallet from a drawer. "I'll give you an advance. Buy 2 sets of formal wear. You'll need them for your interview with that real estate firm, too." "That's not necessary," Andrew protested. "Consider it part of the job, company expense." Reluctantly, Andrew accepted the advance. "Thank you, ma'am. I'll pay you back." "No need. It's your salary as my assistant, And stop calling me ma'am. Just Sarah if you're my assistant. It's too formal otherwise. A week later, they were on a flight to Miami. Andrew sat beside Sarah, wearing a new navy blue long-sleeve shirt and black slacks. The former gardener looked like a corporate executive. Sarah couldn't help noticing how handsome he was in formal attire. "First time on a plane?" she asked, seeing his nervousness. Yeah, Sarah." Sarah smiled at his blushing attempt to drop the mom. "You'll get used to it," she said. "I hope so," Andrew said, smiling. I hope I do," Sarah laughed. "Just keep practicing." In Miami, they went straight to the hotel, serving as their base for the week. Sarah had booked 2 rooms, a master bedroom for herself and a smaller one for Andrew. "This hotel room's huge," Andrew said as they entered the suite. "It's standard for trips like this," Sarah said. "Your room's over there with its own bathroom." Andrew looked around, awed. "This is like an apartment." "Rest for now. We'll have dinner at the hotel restaurant in an hour." "Okay, Sarah," Andrew said, adjusting to her first name. After dinner, Andrew excused himself to shower before bed. Sarah poured a glass of white wine from the minibar and sat on the suite's balcony, admiring Miami's nighttime skyline. "Wow," Andrew said, stepping out post-shower, seeing her. "What a view." He wore only a hotel bathrobe, his hair still damp. Sarah noted how young and handsome he looked. "Want some wine?" she offered, raising her glass. "Sure, thanks." Andrew sat beside her. They sipped quietly, gazing at the city lights. The moment felt intimate, just the two of them, wine in hand, talking about their lives. "Why haven't you married?" Andrew asked suddenly. Sarah was surprised but not offended. "I don't know. Maybe I got too busy with my career, or I haven't met the right person." "With your beauty and intelligence? Impossible," Andrew said. Sarah smiled. "You're young, Andrew. You don't understand how hard life can be. Some choose career over love. Some fear commitment. Some have too many insecurities to let someone in." "Which are you?" he asked. "Probably all of them," she admitted. Andrew fell silent, thinking. "I used to fear commitment too," he said. "Being the breadwinner, I felt I couldn't commit to anyone else." "And now?" Sarah asked. Andrew looked into her eyes. "Now, for the right person, I'd do anything." Sarah's heart raced. She didn't know how to respond. "Let's sleep," she said finally. "We have an early day tomorrow." Andrew stood, smiling. "Good night, Sarah." "Good night, Andrew." Lying in bed, Sarah couldn't stop thinking about Andrew in the next room. She knew her feelings were wrong but couldn't help herself. "What's wrong with you, Sarah?" she whispered. "You're acting like a teenager." Yet, despite her restraint, she smiled, recalling their moments together. Their talks and laughter made her feel young again. For the first time, she felt excited about life. Heavy rain caused flash floods in parts of Miami, forcing them to stop at a coffee shop while waiting for the water to recede. "Looks like we won't make the last site visit," Sarah said, typing an email on her laptop. "I'll cancel it and reschedule next month. At least we finished the important meetings." "Yeah," Andrew said, sipping hot chocolate. "Thanks for your help this week. You did great as my assistant." Andrew smiled. "I enjoyed it. The corporate world's fun. Different from gardening, but it has its charm." They finished their drinks and returned to the hotel, soaked from the rain. "That was intense," Sarah said. "Hope our flight's okay tomorrow." Inside the suite, the power suddenly went out. "Perfect timing," Andrew laughed. Sarah searched for a candle or flashlight but found none. "I'll check for emergency lights," Andrew offered. "No need," Sarah said. "It's almost night. Let's change and rest." She changed in her room in the dark, then joined Andrew in the suite's living area, where he sat on the sofa in a t-shirt and shorts. "Ever think how tough life was before electricity?" Andrew asked. Sarah sat beside him. "Probably simpler but harder, more romantic, though." "Romantic?" Andrew teased. "Didn't know you were a hopeless romantic." Sarah smiled, her face hidden in the dark. "How many girlfriends have you had?" she asked, curious. "2," Andrew said. "One in high school, one in college. Neither lasted. They said I was too serious, always putting my family first." "That's a good thing," Sarah said. "You're responsible. And you? How many boyfriends?" "Maybe 5 or 6, Sarah said. "Only one was serious. We almost married, but he backed out 3 months before the wedding." "Why?" Andrew asked, shocked. "My career," Sarah said. "He couldn't handle the pressure, said I prioritized work over our relationship." "We're opposites," Andrew commented. "Yeah, I was too career-driven." "That's not bad," Andrew said. "He should have admired your success. Not every guy can handle a woman being more successful." "Ego," Sarah said. "You know how it is." "I don't mind," Andrew said. "Actually, I'm attracted to successful women." Sarah fell silent, unsure how to interpret his words. They continued talking in the dark. "I really enjoy your company," Andrew admitted. "Me too," Sarah said. "I didn't expect we'd get along, with the age gap." "Partly that," Andrew said, "and our different backgrounds. But we click. Isn't that what matters?" "Andrew," Sarah began, sensing the conversation's weight. "What do you really want from us?" "Us," Andrew repeated, hope in his voice. "I mean," Sarah clarified, "what do you see in me? Why are you like this with me?" "Because I like you," Andrew said directly. "I don't know how or when it started, but I like you, Sarah." "Andrew, you're young. You could find someone your age, not your boss." "I don't need anyone else," Andrew interrupted. "Don't you see? You're who I want. I don't care about your age or that you're my boss. I see you, a smart, beautiful, kind woman I adore." Sarah was speechless. In the dark, she felt Andrew's hand on her cheek, gently caressing it. "Sarah, can I kiss you?" he whispered. She knew she should say no, stop it before it began. But in that moment, amidst the rain and darkness, her doubts vanished. "Yes," she whispered back. Andrew leaned in, his lips meeting hers. The kiss was soft and slow at first, then deepened, becoming passionate. Sarah grabbed the back of his head, pulling him closer. She felt his warmth, his quick breaths, the pounding of a heart. In that moment, age, status, and roles vanished. There was only Sarah and Andrew, 2 people drawn to each other, unable to resist their desire. Andrew paused, looking at her, breathless. "Sarah, are you sure about this?" "No," she admitted, "but I can't stop how I feel for you. I don't want you to think I'm using you or have ulterior motives." "What motives?" she asked. "Money, connections, a job." "I don't think that," Sarah said. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure. I know you, Andrew." He looked at her, his gaze heavy, even in the dark. "I want you, Sarah, not for what you have, but for who you are." Sarah pulled him back, kissing him deeply, desperately, as if they'd been holding back for years. Andrew's movements were careful, and Sarah, despite her age, matched his passion. They reached a shared peak, breathless and fulfilled. Afterward, lying in Sarah's bed, they listened to the rain outside. Guilt and fear crept into Sarah's mind. "Andrew," she said, resting on his chest, "what happened to us?" "Something beautiful," he replied, stroking her hair. "What if it's wrong? What if it's just the moment, the rain, the dark, being stranded here?" "I don't believe that," Andrew said. "I've felt this for you long before this trip." "But if—" "Sarah," he interrupted. Can we just enjoy this moment? We'll deal with complications tomorrow. Sarah nodded and closed her eyes. He was right. For now, she wanted to savor his arms around her, his warmth, and the confidence he gave her. How was the business trip? Diane asked Sarah over breakfast at a midtown cafe, a week after returning from Miami. Successful, Sarah said, avoiding eye contact. Got everything done. And Andrew? Tricia asked, smirking. How was he as your assistant? Sarah felt her cheeks warm. He was fine, quick learner. Diane said, noticing Sarah's shift. Did something happen? What? No, Sarah said defensively. Aha, Tricia exclaimed. You're defensive. Something did happen. Sarah sighed. Fine, something happened. Her friends exchanged looks and squealed. Oh my gosh, I knew it, Diane said. Details, girl. Blackout, rain, cancelled site visit, stranded at the hotel, Sarah began. Classic, Diane said. Then we kissed, Sarah admitted. And more. More as in? Tricia's eyes widened. Sarah nodded. No further explanation needed. Oh my gosh, you're wild, Diane laughed. I don't know what to do, Sarah said. What if we made a mistake? What if it was just the moment? What if he has other motives? What did he say afterward? Tricia asked. He said he likes me, that he's felt this way for a while. So what's the problem? Diane asked. Lots of problems. I'm twice his age, his boss, and what will people say? What matters is how you feel about each other, Tricia said. If you have feelings and he does too, why hold back? It's not that simple, Sarah said. I have a reputation to protect. What if he's deceiving me? Andrew? Diane said, skeptical. The guy who seems incapable of lying? The one obviously into you? You don't know, Sarah said. Some young guys are attracted to older women for money or power. Not all are like that, Diane countered. From your stories and what I saw, Andrew isn't. So what now? Tricia asked. I don't know. We haven't talked since we got back. He's been avoiding me too. Maybe he's shy, Diane said, or scared about what happened. But you need to talk. After breakfast, Sarah returned home, knowing Andrew was due to tend the garden. Their interaction was awkward, both hesitant, avoiding eye contact. Andrew, Sarah said finally. We need to talk. He nodded. I know. They sat in the garden gazebo, away from Miss Ellen's ears. About Miami, Sarah started. I'm sorry, Andrew said quickly. Sarah's heart sank. Did he regret it? Are you sorry because you're taking back what you said about liking me? No, Andrew said firmly. I don't take that back. I liked you then. I like you now. I'm sorry because I couldn't control myself. You're my boss and I might have made you uncomfortable. Relief washed over Sarah. So you don't regret it? The only thing I regret is if I gave you the impression I'm using you or have ulterior motives. Andrew, she said, taking his hand. I don't think that, but we need to be realistic. Our age gap won't make this easy. I know, he said, but I'm willing to face those challenges if you are. What if it doesn't work? What if we hurt each other? What if it does? Andrew countered. What if this is the best thing that happens to us? Sarah paused. He was right. Why let fear stop her? At 51, she knew life was short. Why not try for happiness? Okay, she said. Let's try. Andrew smiled, holding her hand. You won't regret this, Sarah. I'll show you how much I love you. Over the next weeks, Sarah and Andrew began dating. Secretly at first, they stole moments when Andrew came to her house on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Sarah cooked for them, and Andrew brought flowers or small gifts. Their relationship was simple, but joyful. Andrew wanted to resign as her gardener to avoid compromising their relationship, but Sarah refused. It'd be hard to explain to Miss Ellen why you suddenly quit, We'll just avoid PDA around her and set boundaries between work and personal life. One evening, Sarah invited Andrew to a dinner date at a renowned restaurant in Buckhead, their first public outing as a couple. "Are you sure?" Andrew asked as they drove. "Someone might recognize you." "It's fine," Sarah said. "We can't hide forever." "I sent my resume to that real estate firm through Mike's contact," Andrew said. "I have an interview next week." "That's great," Sarah said. "I know you'll get it. I've seen your talent in our garden." "Thanks. If I get it, I won't need to be your gardener anymore." "I'll miss you at the house," Sarah said. "I can still visit," Andrew grinned. "Not as your gardener, but as your boyfriend." As they chatted happily, a woman approached their table. "Andrew?" Andrew looked up, surprised. "It's you," the woman said. "It's been forever." "Yeah, it has," Andrew said, visibly uncomfortable. "Sarah, this is Julie, my old college classmate." "Hi," Sarah said, offering her hand. Julie shook it, smiling. "Nice to meet you. Are you Andrew's aunt?" Sarah froze, unsure how to respond. They exchanged glances. "Actually," Andrew said, "Sarah's my girlfriend." Julie's eyes widened. "Girlfriend? As in, your partner?" "Yes," Andrew said firmly. "Any problem with that?" "None," Julie said, clearly confused. "Nice seeing you, Andrew. Nice meeting you, ma'am." After Julie left, silence fell. Sarah felt the weight of their public relationship for the first time. "I'm sorry," Andrew said. "I didn't expect to see her here." "It's okay," Sarah said, her appetite gone. "We'll get used to it." One morning, Sarah returned home to find Miss Ellen in the living room, looking expectant. "Ma'am, someone called the landline, a Mr. Raymond, your former boss." "Raymond?" Sarah asked, confused. "Why's he calling?" "He didn't say, ma'am, but he said it's urgent. He wanted to know if it's true you have a boyfriend who's your gardener." Sarah froze. How did Raymond know about her and Andrew? Julie must have seen them at the restaurant and contacted Raymond, a mutual friend. "What did you say?" "I said I didn't know anything about it. But is it true, ma'am?" Sarah sighed. "Yes, Ellen, it's true." Miss Ellen smiled. "I'm happy for you, ma'am. Andrew's a good man, and it's been obvious he's liked you for a while." "Obvious?" "Yes, ma'am. He always asked about you, checked your schedule to know when you'd be home, and brought flowers for the house, clearly for you." Sarah laughed. Miss Ellen's world was so simple. The next morning, at her office, Sarah received a call from Raymond. "Sarah, how are you?" "Fine, Raymond. Why'd you call?" "I heard you have a boyfriend. Your gardener, no less." "And if it's true?" Sarah asked. "Sarah, aren't you embarrassed? You're a respected businesswoman, a former CEO, a board member of several organizations." "Raymond," Sarah cut in, "you have no right to meddle in my life. We're not together. You were my boss, that's it." "Aren't we friends too?" Raymond asked. "As a friend, I'm concerned. He might be deceiving you, after your money." "You don't know him," Sarah defended. "Don't judge." "I know you," Raymond said. "You're desperate, Sarah. You're 50. You might settle for anyone." "Excuse me?" Sarah said, furious. "You have no right to say that." "Fine, live your life. Don't say I didn't warn you." Sarah hung up, trembling with anger. Who was Raymond to judge her? But she couldn't help wondering. What if he was right? What if Andrew was deceiving her? Or what if she was desperate? That evening, when Andrew arrived, he noticed her unease. "What's wrong?" "People know about us. Julie told Raymond, my old boss, and he said you might be using me for money." Pain flashed in Andrew's eyes. "And you believed him?" "No," Sarah said quickly. "But I can't help thinking, what do you really see in me, Andrew? Why me? Why not someone your age?" "Because I want you." Andrew said. I'm tired of women my age with no direction, who only party and have no plans. You're smart, kind, loving. You make me happy, make me feel I can do anything, make me feel accepted for who I am. Sarah was stunned by his sincerity. How could she doubt him? I'm sorry, I shouldn't have doubted you. It's natural, Andrew said. Our situation isn't easy, but if you love me and I love you, we can overcome anything. 2 weeks passed since their argument about Raymond's call. Andrew hadn't visited Sarah's house. Why haven't you called him? Diane asked over coffee at Sarah's office. I don't know what to say. Maybe he needs space. Or maybe he thinks you don't want him, Diane said. Guys need reassurance. Sarah shook her head, staring at her coffee. She wanted to call Andrew, but feared Raymond might be right. It might be easier to end things before they got serious. I heard something, Diane said, changing the topic. Andrew got a job at that real estate firm, started last week. Sarah looked up. Really? Who told you? Mike, he referred Andrew. Sarah fell silent. If their relationship was real, she should have been the first to know. Back home, Sarah noticed her garden's vibrancy fading. 2 weeks without care showed. She approached the plants, seeing some needed water and attention. Ma'am, Miss Ellen called from the door. Is Andrew coming back? I don't know, Ellen. He got a job at a real estate firm. That explains it, Miss Ellen said. He gave me his number last time he was here, said to call if we needed a gardener. Sarah's heart ached. Andrew had said goodbye to Miss Ellen, but not her. Give me his number. I'll call later. She called Andrew, but he didn't answer. She left a voicemail congratulating him on his job and hoping to talk soon. Days passed with no response. Sarah decided to visit the real estate firm's office where Andrew worked. Nervous, she entered the building, unsure what to say at reception. Good morning, she greeted the receptionist. I'm here to see Andrew Reynolds from the design team. Do you have an appointment? No, but I'm a friend, Sarah Valentine. The receptionist called, then said Andrew was in a meeting but would be free soon. Sarah waited, admiring the design drawings on the walls, landscape plans and 3D renderings showcasing Andrew's talent. When Andrew emerged from a meeting with clients, he was surprised to see her. Sarah, he said, smiling, you're here. As promised, Sarah replied, standing. After the clients left, Andrew hugged her. Welcome to my small kingdom, he joked. It's amazing, Sarah said. I didn't know you could do this alone. I had help from Marco and Paolo, my part-time interns, and Anna, my receptionist, my sister's friend. Andrew introduced Sarah as his special friend, making her smile at the term. He showed her his ongoing projects, and Sarah felt proud and joyful. Their relationship had faced a drought, but from it, Andrew had built a new beginning. I'm so proud of you, Sarah said. You started your own business on your terms. It's small, but I hope it grows, Andrew said. Sarah, about our relationship. I'm sorry for cutting you off before. I was scared, but now I'm sure. I love you and want to face everything with you. Sarah smiled, tears in her eyes. That's what I wanted to say. I love you, Andrew, and I'll choose you no matter what the world says. 3 months later, their relationship stabilized. Andrew grew his small landscaping company, while Sarah continued her real estate business. So, how's the love life? Tricia asked over dinner with friends. Happy, Sarah said, smiling. Andrew's business is growing. He has 5 full-time employees and lots of clients. Great, Diane said. No one can say you're supporting him now. I never was, Sarah defended. But you're right. It's easier to answer doubters now. So, you're serious? Tricia asked. Sarah nodded. Why not? Maybe wedding bells? Diane teased. Sarah blushed. Not yet. At my age, is it necessary? Why not? Tricia said. Love knows no age. If you love each other, why not? Sarah hadn't discussed marriage with Andrew. Both were busy, happy as is, but she sometimes wondered where their relationship was headed. At 52, she couldn't have children, while Andrew, at 28, still could. Has Andrew mentioned wanting kids? Diane asked, reading her mind. Not yet, Sarah said. I don't know if he does. Talk about it soon to align your expectations, Diane advised. Sarah nodded, uneasy about the topic, fearing Andrew's answer. Returning home, Sarah found Andrew waiting on her porch. He'd texted about dinner, but she hadn't expected him early. Hi, she said, surprised. Been here long? Not really, he said, kissing her cheek. About 30 minutes, chatting with Miss Ellen about her new recipe. Sorry, I already ate with Tricia and Diane. It's okay, I just wanted to share something. Inside, Andrew told her he'd landed a big project, landscaping a new high-end subdivision in Savannah. Wow, that's huge. Congratulations. Sarah was genuinely thrilled. Thanks, Andrew said, but a hint of worry crossed his face. What's wrong? I'll need to visit the site regularly for 6 months, sometimes staying a few days. I understand, Sarah said. It's part of your job. You won't worry. I'll be away for long periods. Andrew, I trust you. This is your dream. I won't hold you back. Andrew smiled, holding her hand. That's why I love you. You get my passion for work because you have it too. Exactly, Sarah said. But I have more news, Andrew added. I bought something. What? A small house in Roswell. It's modest but has a big garden space. Wow, that's a big investment. Congrats. Thanks, Andrew said nervously. I was hoping you'd want to see it. Of course. When? Now, if that's okay. Curious, Sarah agreed. They drove to Roswell, Andrew describing the house. 2 bedrooms, a small living room, and kitchen, but a standout garden. Arriving, Sarah saw a charming bungalow-style house surrounded by a wide garden. Wow, it's lovely, she said. Wait till you see the garden, Andrew said excitedly, unlocking the gate. Sarah gasped at the garden. A small table with 2 chairs stood in the center, adorned with candles and wine glasses. Flowers arranged around spelled out, "Will you marry me?" Andrew, Sarah said, eyes wide. He knelt, pulling out a small box. Sarah Valentine, I know our relationship is unconventional. People will talk. There'll be challenges. But I love you and want to spend my life with you. Will you marry me? Tears streamed down Sarah's face. Andrew, are you sure? At my age, I can't give you children. I don't care, he said. You're what matters. If we want a family, there are ways. Adoption, surrogacy. But what matters is us. What about what others say? Let them talk. We know the truth, that I love you and you love me. Sarah nodded, tears falling. Yes, Andrew. Yes, I'll marry you. Andrew stood, hugging her tightly, kissing her. Thank you, he whispered. Thank you for giving us a chance. Thank you for showing me love is possible at any age, Sarah replied. 5 years later, Sarah, now 57, sat on a wooden bench under a blooming magnolia tree, holding a cup of tea and reading a book. 5 years had passed since she and Andrew married in this very garden. Their love had transformed their lives. Mommy Sarah, look at the butterfly I caught. Sarah looked up to see 6-year-old Mia running toward her, holding a butterfly net. Mia was their adopted daughter, welcomed into their lives 3 years ago. Wow, it's beautiful, Sarah said as Mia approached. But remember what Daddy Andrew said. After we observe it, we let it go so it can return to its family. Yes, Mommy Sarah, Mia said. showing the colorful butterfly in a transparent container. Look, it's blue and yellow, like my drawing last night. You're right, Sarah said, sitting Mia beside her. You have a great eye for detail. Andrew emerged from the house, carrying a tray of cookies and juice. At 33, he was even more handsome, with faint lines around his eyes from days outdoors and endless smiles. There are my favorite girls in the world, he said, setting the tray on a garden table. Daddy, Daddy, I caught a butterfly, Mia said excitedly. Really? Show me. Andrew knelt to inspect it. It's gorgeous. We don't see these often, Mia. You're lucky. Mia beamed. Can we take a picture before we release it? Sure. Andrew snapped photos of the butterfly and Mia. Okay, time to let it go, Mia said, opening the container. The butterfly flew to nearby flowers. Good job, sweetheart, Sarah said, stroking Mia's hair. You are so gentle. Like you and Daddy taught me, Mia said proudly. We should be gentle with all living things. Andrew and Sarah smiled, sharing a proud glance. Adopting Mia hadn't been easy, especially at Sarah's age, but they'd persevered. Mia was a blessing, full of curiosity, joy, and love. Happy? Andrew asked Sarah, as he often did over their 5 years together. Beyond happy, she replied, smiling. You? Ecstatic, Andrew said, holding her hand. We made the right choice, pushing through despite the objections. Yeah, what if I'd let my fears or others' opinions stop me? I'd still be chasing you, Andrew teased, till you caved. For Sarah and Andrew, their love was like a flower in the rain, blooming despite challenges, shining through sorrow, and coloring the world even in the darkest times. In their small world, their Roswell home with its vibrant garden, the story continued of two people who found love unexpectedly, a love that grew and blossomed with each passing day. The end.
Thank you so much for watching this story by Mr. Hope. We found our love, now go find yours too.